Hope everybody had a good week. I know we missed spending some time with you guys on Thursday, but yeah, the missus and I had some fun activities the last couple of days, and sometimes you need that stuff, right? You need to find some quality time together and doing that kind of stuff, and step away from this this grind for a little bit. Phase, what's going on? Thank you for renewing your subscription. 8 months now. Never heard of it, Carissa. STFC is life. They certainly do make it feel that way, right? That fear of missing out is usually pretty high. But when you run terrible events like this officer recruit event, I mean, it makes it real easy. Assuming you don't make the mistake I did and you're just excited about like, yes, I can finally upgrade this thing. Let's do it. Without checking the point totals to find out that you're not getting really any points for it because it's god awful. And by god awful, I mean god awful. These are terrible point values. This is not what we agreed to last month when we agreed and they changed it and then we said, "Hey, this sucks." And they went, "Okay, let's compromise and we'll put it somewhere in the middle and make a change." And we went, "Okay, this is better than it was." And then it got even worse. And to illustrate that point, we can just go right to our events page. And we just have to go to, oh, I don't know, let's find a recruit event from last month. All right, let's find the first recruit data or recruit Picard event. All right. So let's try and do this side by side here if I can. All right. So this was the first one, which we said is terrible because they nerfed uncommon materials down to 20 and 30 points, which was basically nothing. But at least, their compromise was, well, we want you spending more rare materials. So we made rare 75 and 150. And then they made all the other materials very high point values. And the point milestone was 18 million. This time around, you see these point values are ridiculously low, but they lowered the SMS milestone almost in half. But they cut the point totals more than half. So, still want you to spend a ridiculous amount of materials, relatively speaking. I mean, rare went from 75 to 30. G4 rare went from 150 to 60. Like, you cut them over. It's more than a 50% reduction. But you didn't lower the point values enough. G4 Epic goes from 400 down to 240. G5 Uncommon goes from 100 down to 90. G5 Rare goes from 400 down to 180. Like, these are significant drop-offs in point values that are not at all commiserate with the reduction that they made in the overall points needed. So you're still going to have to spend more materials than you would last month, and you're going to have to spend them in ways you probably don't have access to. Like, who has a bunch of G4 Epic materials that they can spend, or a place to put them is more appropriate. Absolutely terrible. That's not the event that we agreed to. The event that we, were happy about was when they revised it and we got this more balanced price point. Getting 40 for that, getting 60 for these uncommons, still getting 75 and 150 for the rares. But no, They hosed us yet again, and we're just supposed to be okay with it. Because this is actually worse. It's not even like it just reverted back to what the previous one was, and then they can just play the oops, we didn't realize we used the old version of the scoring system, and the next one that comes out will have the regular fixed version, and we're sorry about the mistake. Like, this is a conscious effort to make a new scoring system yet again that sucks. I'll call it what it is. It sucks. And you can say, well, we lowered the point threshold. Not by enough. You lowered the points, gained more than you lowered the points needed. So you still have to spend more materials than you would previously. And he's not even that good of an officer. He's a decent officer. Why won't it let me see? Right. Show me Riker. Boost to impulse speed is his captain's ability. Okay. Boost to crit chance. Yeah. Decent officer. Gonna take a while to tier up. Gonna have to have future sourcing to really make this ability worth more. Impulse speed might be helpful potentially for, this new gimmick that they've got going on with the wave defenses. But there's other officers that add boost to impulse speeds as well that you could also run for that mechanic too. So this is a fail. This is just yet another failed event in a history of failed events that, quite frankly, I'm really just getting tired of. I'm really just tired of being the guinea pig, I think is what it is. So maybe 2024 will bring about some new changes, but this is not the way to try and end 2023, especially given how abysmal the last couple of months have been. I will now get off my soapbox and end my rant, but let's see what you guys have to say. They did nerf the uncommon again, which is dumb. You were too late. You already started upgrading. You were, yep. SMS, SLB is garbage. Well, that's the thing, too. Of course, even though we were promised that 60-plus players would be pushed into their own SLB bracket, that obviously, again, did not happen. As you can see, the top players in here, 64, 62, 63, 64, they're all 60-plus players at the top of this leaderboard. So that's yet another thing that they told us they were going to do that they didn't do. And, I don't know why we should be surprised by that at this point in time. And I'm sorry to be so negative, but I guess the frustration is just starting to boil over at this point, where if you can't even do the basic thing. You can't even do the things that we agree. You already made a change, and we agreed to the change. We negotiated an agreement to the change, and then you went back on it again. I did first milestone. Yep. I had some G4 rare to spend. You got 5 Riker shards. Yep. Check general chat in Discord for Barkman's meme. All right, I'll be sure and check that out. They raised the SMS. Well, for me, so my SMS last month was 18 million, right? Now it's down to 10 million. So that's a reduction for me, at least at my ops level. I can check obviously what it is on, well, let's go pull it up. Oh, I already closed the window. All right, let's go pull it up. stfc.space events. So the first one that they ran, this first SMS, let's go find the appropriate ops level. I am 55. So yeah, 18.7 million is what we needed for that one. And then we got the better scoring system by the end of the month. But I'm pretty sure the point value stayed, the point values changed, but the milestones stayed the same, 18.7 million. Now you were also getting both officer shards, right? So they gave out 25 and 25. So you got half of Picard, but you also got all of Data, all 34 shards you needed for Data. The current event, what are we getting out? 15, 30, 50. Still only giving out half of Riker. No Troy shards in this. And your point values have all been screwed around with. What's up, Olympus? Yeah, I'm trying, but, you know, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because we've taught them that it doesn't matter, is really what it comes down to, right? We can tell them how bad their product is, but because we keep using it, they're like, yeah, they're really pissed off and unhappy, but they're still playing, so they're still buying stuff. Did you see? Have you seen what your gifts tab looked like this weekend? Mine had like 50, 60 items in it when I logged back in last night. And it was like, oh, I guess people have been buying a whole bunch of stuff because there's a whole bunch of bundles in the store right now. Between your wave defense, between your store currency, between your premium battle wave defense thing, the faction credits, and then you've got these ship and research specials with no limits on them, which have an abundance of resources in them. Extra ticket events for people wanting to do that kind of stuff. Like, there's all kinds of stuff for sale, and people are buying it. So, yeah, we can complain that we're unhappy about the events all we want, but as long as people are still buying packs to get more resources to spend to finish these events, do they really have any incentive to make any changes to it? No, is the short answer. So, Radka, in your Ops 45 bracket, one player has completed the top milestone. 4 people have finished the second milestone. Yeah, where am I? Let's see. Well, again, I'm in the whale bracket, right? So I would need 10 million points to finish my SMS. Now, the people who are, there's about 15 people who are above that threshold, 20 people who are above that threshold. But most of these players are higher ops level than I am. So their point totals are probably higher to begin with. So I mean, obviously some of these guys, yes, they've definitely finished their SMSs. But some of these people in here, like CC is 62. Like his, did I still have that open? Yeah. Let's go take a look. His point total at 62. He needs 16.8 million. So he just barely finished his SMS, for example. Chris, so you finish your SMS, you won't even place in the top 50 in the SLB? Yeah. Riker's okay. Hang on a second. Just a little froggy dew stuck in my throat this morning. Yeah, so Riker seems okay, and, you know, when you start looking at him compared with the other officers in this little bundle, I know I'm way behind on chat at this point, but we'll get caught up. So we talked about Riker. Obviously, he's got, you know, boosting impulse speed, definitely is going to help wave defense as his captain's ability. And then this, every time you hit ships, he's boosting your critical hit chance. So you're going to get more criticals, especially once this starts getting tiered up. But then it's like, well, who do you pair him up with, right? You can pair him up with Data, and you get some more isolytic cascade damage. Now you've got more criticals and more isolytic cascade. Okay, that works. And you've got the new Picard, whose officer ability is also boosting isolytic cascade damage, so there's some synergy there. And I already forget what Troy does. Oh, she lowers their shield health. That's right. So she's helping to strip their shields a little bit faster, although against a lot of the stuff that you're fighting, it's probably not. I mean, if you're like a G3 player, this may actually have a significant impact. With the amount of shield health that some of these higher level targets and stuff have, G4, G5, and higher, this is not really doing a whole lot. I don't know. Maybe there's some math. Maybe once people unlock her and get her tiered up, I mean, obviously once she's tiered up a bit and she starts, pulling off 1,000 or 1,500%, you might see some more significant results. I don't think she has a whole lot of value right out of the box. So trying to pair people up with Riker as captain, I don't know if there's just enough officers in this set to sort of justify building a crew around him for things like that. So that again makes him a slightly less desirable officer, which then makes the SMS and SLB events not as worthwhile to compete in. Aquilinus throwing out a Darth Vader Cloud City quote. Nice. FaZe, anything worth getting in the event store? We can go good for that, yeah. Jockey's wishing you never moved up into the 50s because now you're stuck in the bracket with all the higher players. Yeah, I can get that. Oh, I just realized something, though. I can actually promote La'an, and I didn't do that yet. So let's do that and get some 5% more to my cargo. Riker is awesome as captain for waves. If you're flying all over the place, sure. You definitely do need some, can need some impulse speed depending on what ships and stuff that you're using. Especially if you're using battleships, he's going to be very beneficial for that. No doubt about that. But building a crew around him, you get some benefits. You get some benefits.